Hey there. Today for math, we're going to be learning about comparing. Comparing basically means looking at one thing and comparing it to another. So if you see two buildings, comparing is looking at the two buildings and seeing which one is taller. Or if you're looking at two people, comparing is looking at the two people and seeing which person is shorter. Or what's comparing? Comparing is looking at how many pieces of gum I have and how many pieces of gum Sandy has and seeing who has more. Comparing is looking at how many ants I see crawling on the sidewalk and then looking at how many butterflies I see on the flowers and thinking how many fewer butterflies are there than ants. So basically comparing is how much more, how fewer. So for example, let's start with a nice easy example. Here we go. Comparing. I got some red apples and I got some green apples. I want to see, which one do I have more of? Well, it looks like I got more of the red apples. Yeah. So I got more of the red apples. Now comparing is how many more red apples do I have than green apples. Now, if I want to find out how many more red apples I have than green apples, it's kind of like measuring. So let me line them up. Because when you're comparing, you're kind of like measuring. You're measuring one thing against another. All right? And when you measure, you got to line things up, right? Like if I'm measuring myself, I got to line myself up against the wall and then see how tall I am. Measuring. So, how many more red apples do I have than green apples? Well, let me see. And the part that is more is the part that is bigger. All right, so here's the part that's the same. So we cut off the part that's the same. And then we can automatically see the part that's more. So how many more red apples do I have than green apples? 2. I have 2 more red apples than green apples. Because when you're doing more or fewer, in other words, when you're comparing, you're looking at the part that's not the same. Which part is not the same? All right, let's do another problem. And remember, when I'm solving math problems, I'm doing a lot of acting things out. Because when I act things out, it helps me figure out the problem. All right, so here's a problem I got. Bill has 12 apples. Bill has 7 bananas. How many more apples than bananas does Bill have? So there's that word more. Must mean I'm comparing. And when you're comparing, you're measuring things against each other. So I'm measuring the apples versus the bananas, and I'm going to see how many more apples I have than bananas. All right, so I got 12 apples. All right, let me do my 12 apples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There it is. I got my 12 apples. And now I'm going to compare the 12 apples versus the 7 bananas. Okay, here are my 7 bananas. Let me line them up because when you're comparing, it's like measuring. And you got to line them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there we go. I got my 7 bananas and my 12 apples. Now, the question was, how many more apples than bananas does Bill have? So when you're saying more or when you're saying fewer, it's kind of like you're comparing. And when you're comparing, it's kind of like measuring. And when you're measuring, you look at the part that's not the same. So how many more apples do I have than bananas? Well, this part is the same. So I'm not going to look at that part. That part's the same. Oh, check that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bill has 5 more apples than bananas. All right, Bill has 5 more apples than bananas. Now, another way to show this in a number sentence is, well, we take the 12 apples and we're going to take away the part that's the same. That's this part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So minus 7 equals the part that's more, 5. So comparing, another way to do it is to do a subtraction sentence. Some people do addition sentence, but it's using a number sentence to figure it out. All right, let's do another one. Okay, all right, here we go. Margaret has 13 carrots. She also has 5 peppers. How many fewer peppers than carrots does she have? All right, she's got 13 carrots and she's got 5 peppers. All right, so let's do the 13 carrots. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 carrots, there we go. And she's got 5 peppers. All right, I'm just going to put a C here so I remember that those are carrots. And then she's got 5 peppers. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, the question is, how many fewer peppers than carrots does she have? Fewer, more, it's all comparing. And when you're comparing, you're measuring. And when you're measuring and comparing, you don't look at the part that's the same. So, fewer. How many fewer peppers than carrots do we have? Well, this is the part that's the same. So the part that's not the same is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Bill has 8 fewer. It's not Bill, it was Margaret. Excuse me. Margaret has 8 fewer peppers than carrots. Fewer and more, it's the same thing. It's comparing and seeing which part is not the same. Margaret has 8 fewer peppers than carrots. So, when you are comparing, it's kind of like measuring. And when you're measuring things, you line them up and you see which part is not the same. The part that's not the same is the part that's more or fewer. Same thing. It's the part that's not the same. So if I'm measuring 2 things and one is taller than the other, the part that's not the same is right here. Because right here is the part that's not the same. All right. So what did we learn? We learned when you're comparing, you line them up and you look at the part that's not the same. That's the gist of it.